I had seen extreme flight airplanes before, and when I started looking for a new one, I fell in love with this Edge 540 and a 60-inch wing. Now after getting this one ready to fly, I can say that this is a very well done airplane. Everything was straight, everything fit very nice, the servos even dropped right into their spaces, and they've got some no fooling around control surfaces on this thing. Even the canopy fits right the first time around and is held in place by a spring latch, not just a magnet. The fuselage is very wide and it's easy to work with the 6S battery or installing the radio gear. I could even install the wing bolts without a special tool. And you can see here how precisely the parts are cut and assembled. And it's very easy to install a battery in the correct spot to get the CG where we want it. Another thing I like about the Extreme Flight kits is that they come with ball link hardware. There is no slop in this kind of linkage like there is with a Z-bend. With the kind of control movements we have on this plane, the last thing I want is a little bit of slop in the controls. And yes, the ball link hardware goes all over the plane, including the ailerons. You get a healthy carbon fiber wing tube to support the wings and the violence that you can do in the air with this plane. And the wings have preset carbon fiber locating pins at either end to make sure that the incidence is right all the time. You also get these cool looking wing caps that are attached with a couple of screws so you can take them off when you break the plane down for transport. I always put the bolts and the spacer back in the end of the wing so I don't lose them. And they even give you a wing bag right in the kit, and that's something that surprised me a little bit. I bought the motor from Extreme Flight, and that bolts right up to the airframe. And that motor box and the supporting structure are all pre-built right out of the box. I'm still hunting a little bit on the right prop for this outfit, but this motor seems to have plenty of power. This really is the maiden flight. I made sure I had all the controls looking straight, but I was a little worried about something this hyper when it gets into the air. But I shouldn't have worried. It had a little bit of right, a little bit of down into it, but that was it. I think you can hear in the video that we had a pretty good wind going on while I made the test flight, and I was a little worried about wind because this plane weighs 5 pounds all up, batteries and all. But once you get the feel of it and learn to set the dual rates right for where you're comfortable landing, this plane handles wind pretty good. I like to shoot some landings early in any trim flight because our field gets kind of lumpy down near the ground when we've got some wind. And here I'm still trying to figure out the elevator on this. That up and down stuff near the ground was all me, a 5-pound airplane, and way too much elevator throw for landings. But I'd get that sorted out before long, and this plane actually lands pretty nicely, even in wind. During the second flight, I just worked out some dual rate settings to calm it down a little bit for landing, and then I started working on the plane itself, and you can see, doing a snap roll on takeoff, that I'm getting comfortable with this thing. Later on, I proved that you can get too comfortable with an airplane. One of the things they describe in the manual is to point it up, get some speed up, chop the throttle, and throw it in an outside snap. And it does do that pretty nifty. I would find that this thing needs some power applied when it starts to fall through out of a maneuver like that. You need to get a little bit of airspeed up for it to recover. It also likes a little bit of throttle when it's coming back into the wind. You don't have to go very fast, but a little throttle keeps it real stable. Then you can pour the coal on, go up and do it again. This Extreme Flight Edge will fly knife edge very well with very little coupling. It'll also do a knife edge loop. Here I was actually trying to see what it was like when it stalled, and by accident I went into an elevator. Keep in mind that I'm not a 3D pilot, and this is actually my third flight with this plane, so we're still getting a hang of some of this stuff. It's obvious that the plane wants to do it, and I just got to figure it out. We thought we had enough video and put the camera away after the third flight. On the fourth flight, I noticed that I could do a knife edge loop on takeoff. I had to tighten up the back end a little bit, and somebody mentioned that. So I did 2 more of them, and on the fourth one, I opened up the back end a little bit. It fell through, snapped, and this is what happened. The only fault that I can put on the airplane for this is how easy it flies, and it lulled me into thinking I could do something like that. But the truth is that I crashed a brand new airplane. It's my fault, but I still love this airplane, so I bought another one. And this is the maiden flight for that plane. Yep, flies just like the other one. We didn't have quite as much wind this time, so I tried some inverted stuff, and it handles great there too. And I just had to see what happened when I tried flipping this like the other one. Does it great. I need to say again that crashing the first one was all on me. The Extreme Plate 60-inch Edge 540 is a great plane. It flies great. I need more practice with it, but it's a really good kit. It's actually an ARF, but you know what I mean. The design of this plane is great. The instruction manual is very good. The construction is first rate. They could do a better job by answering support-based emails, but I'm not going to let that stop me from buying another one of their planes.